So we're going to talk a bit about what it means to be a fairy mermaid.
Yes, yes. So I honestly believe that like everyone is born as a different um whatchamacallit. Like I believe there are fairies out there are mermaids out there are angels out there are elves out there are like princess warrior type energies. And I believe that there's like these different, almost like the different goddesses, right? Like the different goddesses can possess different energies. And I believe that like we all fit into one of them, like these mystical creatures. And for me, I just feel like I vibe so much with the fairy one. And to me, the fairy is all about like I study Ayurveda as well, and I love Ayurveda. And in Ayurveda, there are three main elements, and everyone is one of three. And I am air and ether predominantly, so like air and outer space. So with that, those people are like they're actually quite airy in the sense that like their head is always in the clouds. They love adventure. They love creativity. They love like fluttering around the globe. And I just feel like freedom as well for me is I'm a huge advocate for freedom. That's just what I love, like self-expression and doing just whatever I want whenever I want, like whatever feels good. And but yeah, just I feel like fairies are I resonate with the most out of all of them. And that's because I'm very sensitive as well. So fairies are very like delicate and sensitive, and they love freedom. They just love like flying around wherever they want. They love colorful foods. They love like eating like plants and flowers and things like that. Like I love putting flowers in my salads and on my food and things like that. We don't eat too much like heavy food like meat, not too much of that. And yeah, just like this delicate, free flowing energy. And the mermaid, to me, I only discovered I was part mermaid when I was I think I was like 20, and I went to Hawaii, and I never swam in the ocean because up until then, like I did swim in New Zealand for a couple years when I was in New Zealand as a kid, but most of my upbringing was like in Canada and Germany, and like there's either no ocean or the ocean is freezing cold. So I never was a fan of it, and I only really swam in lakes. And when I got to Hawaii, the water was just so much warmer than like any lake or any ocean I had ever swam in. And I'm delicate to the cold. So like fairies, like they don't really like the cold either. They're like sunshine babies. Fairies are like all about the sunshine and like fruits, sweet fruits and things. They love sweet food. And yeah, and then I got to Hawaii, and I like did my first snorkeling, like underwater diving experience. And literally like life changed. I was like, this is what I'm meant to be doing. Like, this is heaven on earth. Like, that's literally what I thought. I was like, this is heaven on earth. If heaven exists, it's underwater. And just seeing all like these just like chilled out fish and like just everything underwater is just so like graceful and like beautiful and relaxed. And just like as soon as you go under, it's like for me, it's like as soon as I go underwater, like all of those thoughts that just keep going in your head from your day-to-day life, they just like they quiet. And it's like this like it's like an opening to like the greatest meditation for me. And I'm just in there and I don't think about anything. I'm just totally present in the water. And I love it so much. And then like since then I've swam with millions of fish, tons of turtles, like pods of like 30 turtles at once, dolphins, pods of like 100 up to 500 ones, like 500 dolphins. I've swam with sharks. And my goal, it was for this year, and I had a trip planned to swim with whales, but that was delayed now because of Corona. But I'm hoping to swim with whales as soon as I can as well. And that's just like the highest form of spending my time in life, is just like being underwater with these sea creatures is just like, oh, and manta rays as well at the night, swimming with those in the evening is just like, everything's just so graceful and peaceful underwater. And I just love it so much. So that's like definitely mermaid energy, but I'm like the warm-blooded mermaid. So like I don't like cold water. Like I need like tropical waters. And I love lakes as well. Like I just love swimming and being in the water. Yeah, it's just so
Gosh,
beautiful. But I feel
you and I are
what?
so much alike. Like
Yeah?
everything you say, I'm like, yep, 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 yep.
Yeah.
I am, yeah, I'm a fairy mermaid too. So
Yeah.
I have a little bit of a story. This is like the backstage pass stuff people get
Yeah.
to listen to that they don't normally do, but because it's, yeah, it's a little bit private, but not going to be private anymore because now I'm going to say it. But
Great.
my sister gave me a tab of acid when I was 17. I was a good Christian girl at the time. And like
Oh,
I was Christian. I was like, not, I didn't have sex till I was 18. I
yeah.
read the Bible like because my parents were not religious
Yeah.
at all, and they were drug addicts and alcoholics. I became very, like, I was searching to try and find the
Wow.
answer. And yeah, so I was this good Christian girl, and my sister was the rebel, right? She was the kind of black sheep of the family at the time. And
Love
she
it.
gave me a tab of acid on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And oh my God, I did not know what it was. I was totally freaking out. I locked myself in the bathroom because my whole family turned into vampires and werewolves, and it was very scary. And my sister's boyfriend turned into Satan. And it was like, oh my God, I did not know. Like, I was not prepared for that blue pill,
Yeah.
like, so I locked myself in the bathroom and I turned on the light, and I kid you not, I turned into the little green fairy, and I fell in love with me, and I, like, it saved my soul. And
Wow.
I've always connected to the fairies ever since then. And I feel the happiest when I'm in the forest, when I'm with nature, when I'm hugging trees. And like, that's the fairy energy.
Yeah.
And I later, like many years ago, I talked to my therapist about it and asked my therapist, and she said that, yes, you are a fairy and you could see behind the veils of your energetic connection to nature and to purity and to the God source. And so, yeah, I believe the fairy is that connection to source, right?
Yeah.
And then what you were saying, my other story about the mermaid. Oh yeah, that's much better. I can see you now. And out of the dark and into the light. And then and then my mermaid story was actually in New Zealand. I know what you mean about cold water because I don't like cold water either. But
Yeah.
we went to go and swim with the dolphins, and the dolphins, but in New Zealand with the trips, they have this thing where they followed the pod. And so
Yeah.
thousands and thousands of dolphins like swam by us, but they were on their way somewhere. They were like, we're in a hurry. We're going somewhere. You're human. So what? We have, we're going. And so I just, under the water, see thousands and thousands of dolphins just like go to where they're going. So I didn't actually get to swim with them, but
Mm.
I ended up swimming with seals, and it was amazing. Have you swum with seals?
No, was that a separate trip?
Yeah, it was a
Yeah.
separate trip. And I
And
actually
you
enjoyed,
actually booked swimming with seals.
yes, in New Zealand. He calls himself a silky. And here was the difference, is this tour company with the dolphins were only tracking a pod. But this
Yeah.
guy, he had a relationship with the seals. And so
Oh,
hippie guy, he wears a rainbow hat,
I
and
love it.
he goes out in the boat and he says he communicates with the seals.
He's
And
a merman.
yes, he calls
He's a
himself
merman.
a silky. He calls himself a silky.
Oh.
His communication with the seals. So he says if the seals say no, he takes the boat back and you don't get, and he refunds your money and you don't get to swim with the seals. So
That's
he has
amazing.
actually a communication with them. And oh my goddess, I had the most amazing experience swimming with seals. He takes you
Yeah.
to swim with the moms and the babies. So I swam until I could not swallow any more seawater because I'd like swim down and the babies, they loved it. They'd swim down too. And one of them actually came up and touched its nose to my nose.
Oh my gosh, that's so special. That's so special.
It was so
I've
beautiful.
never thought about swimming with seals.
They're
I'll do it.
really, they call themselves the puppies of the sea. Well, he said they're the puppies of the sea because they're really playful. He said
Yeah.
that, yeah, he said that seals are more like puppies and the dolphins are more like cats. And so they, and I thought, oh, well, that's interesting because the dolphins were like, we're on our way somewhere. Like,
They're very skittish. Yeah. They're very like,
but
oh, hi. Oh, don't touch me.
yeah, but yeah, totally. But
Yeah.
the seals were like, and apparently they're really, confident in water. So they'll play with you under the water. And the reason why they're aggressive out of the water is because they can't walk and that we're faster. And so that's why they're, can be aggressive on land, but in the water, because it's their territory, like you can
That
just
makes sense.
play. Yeah. Yeah.
Seals to me just sounds like cold water though.
Yeah, there is that. But I had a wetsuit on and I did
Yeah.
find because I was swimming so much, like diving
Yeah.
down, the seals would dive down and then would come up and they would like play with me that we were playing for hours that I was okay, but only because it was so amazing. I mean, I'd rather do it in warm water.
Yeah, for sure. I'll have to try it anyway. I'll just have to suck it up and do it to swim with the seals. That sounds amazing. I've never even thought about that. That's so cool.
Yeah,
I love it.
that was my mermaid experience. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
my goal as well. When I'm older, I want to raise my kids in Hawaii and I want to raise little mermans and mermaids. And I want to get a boat and I want to do the whole like, I want to put a light outside my place on the beach and attract the manta rays at night. And I want to start like, because I know when you see them a lot, you can start naming them. So my aunt actually, she's a mermaid. So there's one mermaid in my family and she lives in Hawaii and she swims with the manta rays at night for a living. And she's named up to like 120 different manta rays and she knows their name. She'll see them at night and be like, oh, there's Billy and there's Tracy, like whatever. You're like, what? You remember all these names for all of these manta rays. So she's definitely a mermaid. So I think yeah.
I love that. I love this conversation because it's we can be what we want to be. We can associate with, there's all these different types of goddesses and all these different types of energies and it's like really finding who you are. If you're a fairy mermaid, be a fairy mermaid. And there's actually, I don't know very much about it, but there's a school where you can do like mermaid school. And I know, I think that's pretty interesting. There's all sorts. And I think that's the beauty of living on this amazing planet is to explore, all these different possibilities and then aligning it. And you're reminding me of me when I was a little girl and I'd swim under the water. I do this and I still swim like that. I do this thing with my body and it's like a mermaid swim thing that I do.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. Yeah, I used to do that too. Yeah, it's like the dolphin.
Yeah. And I think that's really good for your spine too, to move it like that. It gets
just swimming in general is so good for the body, I think.
Yeah. So everyone that's listening, maybe we can show them with our body. It's like, you kind of, would you do a demo for us of how to do that? Because your body's amazing. You've got such.
Yeah. It's just like the wave, as if you're like, I can't like stand back too much further, but like the wave where you like do that. Yeah. And then your feet, you can actually get these, because usually you have the snorkel fins and they're separate, but you can get these fins that are actually attached like a mermaid's tail and then slip both your feet in them. And then you have to swim like with your legs together like this.
Wow. Where do you get those?
I don't know. I don't got a pair, but like my plan is to have a home in Hawaii sometime in the next like year or two, base myself out of there while it's summers there and then summers in New Zealand. And I'm just going to like, store up on like flippers and like the whole snorkel gear, so that like when I'm always prepared when I want to like go down to the beach. You know, actually the beginning of this year in January, I went to Hawaii and I spotted dolphins from the shore that were like way out. And I swam like from the shore way out, and I was swimming with dolphins. That was like the first time I did it from shore and could actually like catch up with them, because they kind of went in this massive circle. So I kind of just stayed in one place, and they would like come and then they'd be gone for a while and then they'd come back. And I was like so far from shore, but I was like, I see them, I'm going to get them. Like when I'm in the ocean, I just don't even care about anything other than what's in the ocean.
Well,
Yeah.
I love, you know, some people meditate and some people really love to meditate, but I actually find when I'm swimming in the ocean, that is a meditation. And that's my preferred way of meditating, is to be swimming in the ocean. So I might
Yeah.
just come and visit you in Hawaii.
Yes, do it, do it. And the forest as well for the fairies, right? Like just taking a walk in the forest and just leaving your phone behind and not putting earphones in and just like immersing. I love like the autumn when you can like walk and there's like the crunchy leaves and like everything smells like sweet and like, oh, it's just so good. I love it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we chose this house because we have a forest just like literally 3 minutes away. And
Brilliant.
I live in the forest. Yeah. And like the wallpaper in the background, it really is a
No, I
birch
love
tree.
it.
It really is
I
a
love
birch tree forest. So it's so
it.
magical. And that's my happy place. I love the forest. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you can see like in my room, I've got like plants everywhere. Like I have like 13 plants in my little bedroom. Like, yeah, and I love like flowers and things. Colorful. I love colorful things. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's part of the goddess energy, in my opinion, too, is that beauty, like
Yeah.
embodying that beauty. And to me, you really do that so well. And I was hoping for everyone that's listening, like, what are your tips on how to really embody beauty and that freedom that you have with being a mermaid fairy goddess?
Yeah. Yeah. So the key thing is not to like look at someone else and be like, I want to be like them or I want to embody what they have, because we're all so unique. And I do believe that like 7 or 8 billion people on the planet, every single person is going to be beautiful in a unique way, and that's going to be different to someone else. So not to get caught up in like, oh, I want to be like this, I want this label, or I want to be like this person, so I'm going to be like this. You have to truly find like what's authentic to you, and that will look more beautiful to everyone on an energetic level than it will ever be of you trying to reach a look or a goal that someone else has just to be like someone else. Like it's so much more authentic, and people can feel it on an energetic level when you're truly just authentic and like being yourself and expressing the qualities that you have uniquely to yourself. Like some people, like I knew a friend and she was like full out like gothic goddess, and she never wore color. She was like the opposite to me, and she always wore black, but it suited her so well. And like you could tell she did it from like just an authentic place. And it was just who she was, at least for that like decade and period of her life. And she just like did it so well. And if I was to be like, wow, that looks so good on her, I'm going to try it, it would be like, it wouldn't be authentic to me. So finding what you find is beautiful in yourself. So it doesn't matter what other people say or what other people think or what you think other people want you to be like or look like. It's truly about, what do you think you look good in? What do you think makes you feel good, right? Like what makes you feel alive? What makes you feel sexy? What makes you feel confident? What makes you feel like you're a queen or a goddess, right? Like learning what makes you feel good and valuing your own feelings and opinions to yourself and what makes you feel good, and then just embodying that, like no matter how crazy it is. Like if you want like 20 ponytails in your hair and dye them all different colors, do that. That's fine. If that's authentic to you, people are going to resonate with that, because they're going to be like, wow, that person is so in alignment with themselves and their beauty and their self-expression on such an authentic level. People are going to be magnetized to that. And that's just beautiful to see in anyone who truly embodies their own self, right?
I love that. I love the authentic expression of what's inside being on
Yeah.
the outside. Like it's really embodying the art of being authentic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I have one of my best friends that I've known since I was 19. She's a goth
Yeah.
and she's true to herself. And she's
Yeah.
still a goth. She always
Yeah.
has been, you know. You look in her closet and it's like black and purple and maroon, you know.
Yes. Yes.
And like she just, I love her because she's a fairy too. And she's really sparkly and really shiny and really bright and really positive. She's not one of those goths that's like,
Yeah.
I'm so goth, you know.
Yeah.
She's like
Yeah.
a fairy goddess with lots of good energy and vibes and like spreads her little twinkly dust everywhere she goes. Yet she's always in black. She's got black lipstick, you know, and like the whole thing.
Love
And she's just steadfast and she knows who she is and she's authentic.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's the first one that'll just like fart and say, "Oh, excuse me," you know, like, you
I
know,
love it.
like no big
Love it.
deal.
I love it. I'll get there one day. Yeah.
You know, she's just who she is and she's so embodied in who she is. And I love that. I love the authenticity of it. So it doesn't matter if you're you know, wearing all black and black lipstick or you're wearing all white and
Yeah.
whatever, you know,
Yeah.
purple, green, blue, just be who you are. Yeah.
You resonate with a grizzly bear and you want to dress up like a bear, go for it. But yeah, just like knowing who you are is just a really attractive quality to anyone.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was
And
thinking that
also,
too today.
I want to add to that though, is that, you know, she's watched me go through so many stages, like so many, like I was a punk rock for a while. I was shaving my head and wearing combat boots and fishnet stockings and dyeing my hair purple, you know, and then I was the hippie for a while and I was all hippied out, you know, and peace, love, happiness, kumbaya. And
Yeah.
and I was the yogi and, you know, I've gone through so many different stages. I even went through a cowgirl stage. Like I moved out onto a farm and I was like, you know, I was like the cowgirl with the cowgirl boots. But like
Yeah.
that has been my authenticity is I have,
Uh,
you know, like embodied.
Shapeshifter, right?
Yeah. And that I think it's okay for us to be changeable, you
Yeah.
know, because actually the fairy, the mermaid, the cowgirl, the Native American,
Mhm.
you know, like all of those different energies are a part of me. They're all
Exactly.
in me. So,
Exactly.
yeah, I think
And
I'll
that's
really,
going back to not what I was saying in the interview is like not sticking and being obsessed with the labels, right? Because then once you have the label, you're like, oh, I need to stick to this, right? So it's like letting go of those labels of those things as well and just being like truly authentic of what feels good and natural in that time.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that so much. Because for me, I feel that I embody everything and all of it within me, all the different. And I was like that when I was a kid too. Like I was friends with everyone. I was friends with the nerds, the geeks, you know, the cheerleaders, the football player, like everyone. Like,
Cool.
yeah, I just love
Grow
people.
up.
I love good energy. Like whoever's going to be nice to me, I like you. If you're not going to be nice to me, I don't care what you're wearing or who you are or what label you have. Like I'm just going to go the other direction.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where did you grow up?
All over. I lived in Wyoming, Texas, Nebraska, Utah, California, Oregon, like all over the states. We moved around a lot.
Yeah.
And then I moved to New Zealand when I was in, what was I, 27? And then I was there on and off for almost 20 years. And then London for 6 months, and now Sweden for what's been 8 or 9 months. So a lot of
Yeah.
different places. Yeah. I almost moved to Hawaii. Almost.
Ah,
Yeah. I know. So close. My husband, at the time, he was my boyfriend, and he got a job offer in Hawaii and he got a job offer in New Zealand. So it was one
Uh,
or the other, and we ended up coming to New Zealand. But oh, I was like, Hawaii. But it,
yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
beautiful. Yeah. So most of your childhood was in the States,
yeah, yeah,
all over. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I'm like that too. When people are like, where are you from? I'm like, I'm a fairy mermaid from outer space here to help humanity. Because the minute I'm like, from Canada, they're like, oh, like, do you play hockey or did you da 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 da? And I'm like, I don't even know who the president is in Canada right now. Like, I am like not a good example of a Canadian. And then I'll be like, oh, well, I also lived in America. And I'm like, oh, so you're American, so you're like this. I'm like, no, but my bloodline is from Germany and from France. And then like, oh, so you speak French? And I'm like, no. And I'm like, oh, but I lived in New Zealand, but I'm nothing like Kiwi. So I'm just like, yeah, I'm just from outer space.
I love that. I love that you say that you're a mermaid fairy from outer space here to change the world because I totally relate with that too. Like I've always
Yeah.
felt different than my fellow Americans. I never felt like I really
Yeah.
fit in at any, place. And yeah, and I do believe that you and I both have a mission here to help humanity,
Yeah.
that our souls signed up for before we came here. And then we come and then we've got all this amazing work to do. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like pretty much all of us do. I feel like all of us do. We just forget and we're like, oh, that's why I was here. Oh, that's why my soul came to Earth School. Oh, yeah, there's that one thing I needed to learn. Yeah.
Yeah. So how do you feel that for the people that are watching right now, how do you feel that people can awaken into what their purpose is and find, you know, are they a fairy mermaid? Are they, who are they? Why have they
Princess
come here?
warrior, elf, yeah, or an animal they resonate with. I feel like it comes back to the relationship you have with yourself. So the self-love, the understanding of yourself, the self-awareness, which can come through yoga, meditation, spending more time in Mother Nature, having a really drastic accident. It can come from a whole different bunch of things, or just consistently working on the self. But yeah, like self-awareness, the relationship you have with yourself, amping up the self-love, and then from there the intuition grows, and then from the intuition you can like download and channel different messages and energies and things like that, and then you just become like more open-minded and you can see things from outside of the box. Like I feel like my perspective in life a lot is I'm very like, okay, I'm going to step outside of myself, I'm going to step outside of humanity or whatever, and like pretend I'm like out of space out in space, and like looking down to earth and like seeing these people do what they're doing and the emotions they're feeling, and just looking at it from like a very out of the box perspective. Like, okay, is this really relevant? Is this really important? um yeah, but just embodying yourself is just creating an epic relationship with yourself, and then from there the relationship you're going to have with other people is going to get better, the relationship you're going to have with money is going to get better, the relationship with food is going to get better. Like your relationship to life is going to get better because the relationship with yourself sets the tone for everything else.
Yeah. Yeah. And the other thing, this is just an observation that I have, and tell me if I'm onto it or not, but it feels like, you have a direct link to your physical body. Like you really embody your body and your sensuality, your sexuality, and like the videos you post and stuff, you're like sinewy and you're in your body like so fully. And for me, like that was my way in when I was younger. That was my entryway into my spirituality. Like I actually found God, my connection, goddess, whatever you want to call it. I
Yeah.
found it through dancing naked in my
Yeah.
bedroom in front of the mirror, you know? Like,
I love it.
yeah.
I
I mean, I
love it.
really did. I became ecstatic.
Mhm.
And yeah, I was like, and that was the way I entered into who I am. It wasn't at church. It wasn't through a preacher. It was through my direct connection
to
with my
yourself.
sensuality, my sexuality, and who I am. And I feel like I see that in you. Would you say that's true?
Totally, yeah. Like I don't know how I haven't mentioned already, but yeah, dancing is like, oh, the best thing ever. Like I love music so much. My dad was a musician and I just like I always grew up with music and I just like it brings out so many different emotions and like almost personality types that are still you, but like different sides to you and shapes you. And I think it's so important to like connect with all of those on a daily basis. Like every single morning, well, probably like 5 out of 7, if not 6 out of 7 at least, I have music on like while I'm getting ready to leave the house. Like I don't even really need to map out time in my calendar for it. I'll just play music. And then when the music's on, I just can't help myself. Like I gotta move to this beat. And then like the different personalities, you're like, oh, I feel like wearing this today. Like sometimes I'll walk out of the house and I'll wear like, you know, like boots like this, like punk rock, and I'll like mess my hair all up and I'll wear like thick eyeliner. I'm just like, yeah, I'm feeling like this. Or I'll just real masculine and I'll get like my dad's old business shirt or like an old like dress shirt from my boyfriend and then like, you know, just like no makeup. And then the next day I'll be like in a little mini dress or like a cute little skirt and heels. And I'm just like, you know, I'm just like feeling myself and like all the different sides. And it's just so it's so empowering to be able to connect with yourself on that level. But definitely like that physical, I think yoga and dance helped me with those two for sure. Yoga and dancing.
Yeah, yeah. Thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah. I love your posts. I'm like, oh, she's so embodying her like sexy warrior goddess, you know.
I
And so,
love that.
life is for living. Like it's such a short amount of time while we're here. We gotta have fun. We gotta be fairy mermaid goddesses if we want to be. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I agree.
Life
Oh,
is
thank you
for
so
living,
much.
life is for thriving. So, yeah, thank you for being such a beautiful example of choosing to thrive and choosing to be who you are because you're a shining star. And it was
Oh,
so much fun to have you.
oh, thank you so much. This was so much fun.
Yeah.
Love to you.